Okay, so our sofa is coming along quite nicely. There's a couple of details I want to add to the pillows. Also want to make them a little bit more comfy looking. So there's this seam here, and there's also one on this side. And we also want to add these seams along the tops and the bottom. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So our first seam runs from this bottom corner along the front, and I'm just going to turn all of these off so we get back to like a simpler time. And when we began modeling, you would have noticed that we actually anticipated this seam being here. So I'm going to go to this edit poly, and I'm going to double click, and you'll see that that almost loops all the way around. I just held control to select that edge as well. And then I'm just going to hit extrude, or the extrude dialog here. You could do it interactively, but again, I just like the dialogues. They just feel a bit easier to use. I can see what I'm doing more. So I'm going to use the dialogue instead. And we can see we've got the height. So actually we want to bring that in, but we can't actually see where that's going because we need to change the width. And we can see what this is doing. So this is essentially what we want. We want to have a very small seam along there. So let's make that, I'm going to say 0.25, and the depth of it, not very big at all, something like minus 0.3 will just give us a really small seam. I can turn off our edge and turn everything back on, and we can see how that's looking. We're going to need to go back in and update our chamfer edge because we've added an edge here, it would seem. How's it looking on the front? That's all fine. That's fine, but this needs to actually come across so that that chamfers as well. So just remember to update that. I think around the back we might actually need to weld these seams together. So we can use target weld. And so we'll just go back to edge and make sure we have these new edges selected as well for our chamfer. And then when we turn that on, that's all going to work much better. And we'll turn the turbo smooth on, and that's looking pretty good. Let's do the same on the other side because I know there is a seam running across this one as well. So we'll turn off all of these top ones. We're going to use this edit poly that's above the FFD, and let's isolate this selection. I'm going to loop select that, and also the one running down the inside. So now we can hit extrude. Let's change that width, and that was 0.25, and the top one was 0.03. And I think I remember we had to fix an edge here. Let's select these two and see what happens if we weld them. Yeah, that's cool. Let's do the same here. And we need to remember to add these to our chamfer edges. Oh, they've gone nuts again, so let's just do that. All right, so we'll turn our chamfer on. All is well, and we'll turn on our turbo smooth.